Alright guys, so welcome back over here to the Hetrick Outdoor YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how I Euro mount deer. We're going to take it from this to this, and I'm going to tell you guys what you need. You're going to need a knife like this. I'm going to use this one. You're going to need a pot like this with water in it, like this. Something to keep the deer's antlers up out of the water, like this coat hanger. You're gonna need a propane burner and a bottle of propane, all like this. So you're gonna start off by cleaning all the hair, the skin, and everything off of the deer head. You're gonna drop it in the water and let it simmer for a few hours till it all starts to fall apart. Of course, I'm gonna show you all of this. I'm just giving you a breakdown of what we're gonna do. You're gonna let it dry. You're gonna scrape everything off of it, and then I'll end up using a satin clear coat to clear coat it. Come over here, look at this deer. We're gonna do our best to preserve all of this orange where he's been rubbing on trees and stuff. We're gonna do our best to preserve that. We're gonna run his split up his nose all the way down the back and lay this open. Remove his lower jaw. Remove all of that. And then we're going to pull all the hide off, put it in our pot, and let it simmer for a few hours. Alright guys, so we're going to start skinning this head out. And there's not really a pretty way to do it. Just, well, I say use a sharp knife, and this knife felt sharp. There it goes. I'm just going to split the head open. Through the nose. And I like using little knives like this because it helps you get around the base of the antlers. A lot of times you can take it and just split the scalp or skin or scalp or whatever. Then you're gonna take it, start peeling this off as soon as you can get your finger under it. I just do it one side at a time. Don't get no hurry. Take your time. Of course, you know, you have around the horns, it can be a little bit of a pain sometimes. You take your knife and stick it down in there. Try to cut through that. Then you try to whittle yourself around the horn, base of the horn. Of course, you gotta remove the nose. Around the horn. Down around the eyeball. Apparently I missed a spot right there. through his ear. Round the eyeball. Try not to cut the eyeball, it makes a mess. Big gland in deer right there. Their head you gotta get rid of. Just keep working it around. Switch to a bit bigger knife. Now that I got it down around the head. When we get back to the nose, I'm going to switch to a small knife. And you only have to skin it out down to the lower jaw because we're going to remove the lower jaw anyway. So, down to the lower, see I'm down to the lower jaw here. So I'll eventually come around here and remove that. I'm going to move to the other side. Yeah, so it should start to look something like this, half done, half not. I'm going to move over here to the other side, get this knocked out, and I'll show you guys how to remove the lower jaw. Alright guys, so now we are going to be removing this lower jaw. You've got it all down to this point. You've got it down to where as soon as you remove the lower jaw, you're good to go into the pot, start boiling. If you've removed all the hair, I've got to go back and remove the rest of that hair. But right now, we're worried about getting this lower jaw off. Get in there. You start following the jaw. Sometimes it takes you a couple of different knives. If you'll follow the jaw, cut the tendons on both sides. Normally, once you cut that tendon, start prying the jaw apart. Again, that's why you need multiple knives. And get in there, cut some of that cartilage and stuff that's holding it together. As you can see, it's starting to separate until it hinges open. And just like that, you've got your deer skull separated. I'm not going to worry about removing any of this meat. It'll all boil out. Some people go ahead and remove the brain at this point by shooting air up the nose. I'm going to boil it with the brain in it. I'll remove it after it's cooked. But you're left with this lovely chunk here. And what I like to do, if my dogs are around, go ahead and cut out your deer tongue. You know, everybody loves their babies, so and cut out your deer tongue. Split that joker in half. Come here, sister. Ready? Nope, you missed it. Come here, Moosey. Come on. Give them a little bit of deer tongue, they love it. So I'm gonna finish cutting this hair around here off, and then when we get ready to put it in the pot, we'll rejoin the video and I'll show you guys how I stick it in the pot. All right guys, so we've got that hair cleaned up around our bases. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this coat hanger, put it over the horns. Now depending on how big your deer is, depends on if this is possible. The bigger the deer, the harder it is to get the coat hanger over the actual rack. We're gonna go down to where it meets the bases. Good. A little hard to do when you're holding it up. Normally I have it set down. Since you're going somewhere. You'll take it, set it down. Then the coat hanger sit about around the bases. If you want it to sit around the bases, then as you can hear, our pot's already boiling. Of course, nothing goes right when you're trying to film it. Try it this way. Well, normally it just kind of hooks around there and stays. And it'll boil about like that. Well, you really want it to sit. So are you gonna work out today? Come on now. I literally just did one. Never had so much trouble trying to get a deer rack to stay on a freaking coat hanger. All right. I don't understand why it keeps messing up. All right, Joe, put the video. All right, guys, sometimes you have to adapt and overcome, so we adapted and we overcame. For some reason, the coat hanger didn't want to work. I think it was really because I'm trying to save as much of the color, of this orange color, as I can from him rubbing on the trees, keeping that up out of the water. So we're going to bring this to a simmer, or, yeah, more of a simmer than a boil. You want to simmer it more than you want to boil it. We're going to squeeze some Dawn dishwasher soap in here, some, you know what I'm talking about, like Dawn dish soap in here to help break down the grease as this thing simmers. And then we'll come with a rag and we'll clean up all the blood on the horns. We'll scrape it clean. And then you got to let it set overnight to dry. And then you can use a satin clear coat on it. So what you need to do while this is doing that, because it's going to take a while, grab you a couple lawn chairs, possibly a fire pit, and then we're going to fire up the grill. We're going to fire up the grill, throw this fresh back strap on there that he got today, and watch this thing boil for a while and stay hydrated. All right, guys, we're back out here working on this deer skull. After we boiled it and everything, it's been sitting for a couple of days because we had a lot of rain. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and scrape all of the meat
and everything off of it and get rid of all the nastiness. And then I will take and soak this in hydrogen peroxide, a mixture of hydrogen peroxide and water, just break down any more organic material. And then we will take and we'll clear coat it, because he doesn't want the skull bleached, because, well, we just think they look better without bleaching the skull. So, and we did get to retain a good bit of that orange, which is nice. I mean, it still needs a little bit of cleanup, but it'll be fine. So I'm going to get to removing all of the meat and cartilage and stuff off of this, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Alright guys, so I have scraped everything I can off with the initial scraping here. It's looking a lot better, but you see we still have a whole lot of meat left, and the brain's still in here. This got a little too dry and it froze last night, so what I'm going to have to do is take it and do a second soak. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to soak it in just some warm water with some more Dawn dishwashing soap. Let all that hydrate some of the drier stuff so you can get it off and scrape it off a little better. So I'm going to go soak this for a little while, and we'll come back out here and we'll keep scraping it and get it till it's nice and clean and we can clear coat it. But that's what it's looking like so far. The dogs are enjoying the scraps that are coming off. But as soon as it gets another re-soak, you'll be able to get the rest of this off. Like I said, it just dried out a little too much, just due to the weather that we've been having and my lack of time to be able to get to it right away. But I'm going to go re-soak this in a pot of hot water with a little bit of Dawn, and I'll see you guys when I'm done with that. Alright guys, so I just pulled it out of the second soak, and I'm going to get to scraping it. It should help everything come off a little easier. If it doesn't, it'll go in for another soak. I possibly will put it back on for a boil. It all kind of just depends on how the skull wants to act and all of that. But I'm going to get back to scraping it, and hopefully this will be the last soak it has to have, and I can get everything cleaned up on it and finished up and clear coated and ready to go. Alright guys, so we have this now 99% of the way demeated, cleaned. It's 99% of the way cleaned. Now we're just going to take it and soak it in a mixture of hydrogen peroxide and water for a while. I don't recommend doing this in your sink, unless A, your wife is not going to be home anytime soon, or B, you don't tell her about it, because what she don't know can't hurt you when it comes to doing deer heads in your sink. So, and just make sure you clean your sink really good. I don't have a pot big enough to put this in to soak it, so we're going to soak it in the sink. So here it is. It'll sit and soak in this for a couple of hours, and then I'll take it out. I'll scrape it again to remove what's left, and then it'll go into almost straight hydrogen peroxide for a few hours. I'll pull it out, let it dry, and clear coat it, and we'll be done. Alright guys, as you can see, we got that deer skull all cleaned up. It just got out of its hydrogen peroxide bath. It's been sitting here drying. And of course we don't bleach them because we like to have, you know, some of the natural coloring and stuff come out in the skull. But it looks good. We're going to spray it with some satin clear enamel. We do satin because we don't want it super gloss, but we do want it slightly shiny. You can do gloss if you want to, or you can do matte. It's all up to you. I just like the way it makes the horns and stuff look when you use satin. So we're going to do a coat all over the top, and then we will flip it over and do the bottom and get in all the cavities and everything, and then let that completely dry. Then we'll do a second coat, and if we're good with the second coat, then we will, you know, call it done, and I'll give it to my buddy and he'll be happy. If not, we'll do a third coat, and you know, we'll see what happens after that. My wife's has 2 on it, so I think 2 will do just fine on this one. It's a nice day. It's warm enough that the spray paint will work, or the spray clear will work. You don't want to try to do this on a really cold day because it takes this crap forever to dry, but it's really pretty. It's like 60 out here today. So I know this is taking us a little longer than I would like to have. Weather just kind of played into how long it took to get this done. It's been like 3 or 4 days now, maybe even a week at this point since he shot this. But I had to boil it twice, and then, you know, scrape it all off and soak it. And I only had to boil it twice because I didn't boil it long enough the first time. So it's a game, you know. You got to figure out how to play it. You know, when I did my wife's, I bulled it just right the first time. I got lucky, you know. This one, I didn't bull it long enough the first time. So it's just one of those things that you have to play with and, you know, make sure that everything comes out the way you want it to. But I'm going to get to spraying this, and I'll show you guys the finished product when it's all done. All right, guys, we got that deer skull all finished up. I think it turned out really, really good. Like I said, that satin clear just adds just a little bit of color to it, a little bit of shine to it, but not much. Like I said, I think it looks really good. Also, that clear coat will help keep the teeth in it. But I think it turned out really good. So that's how I Euro mount my deer, guys. This one's actually a buddy of mine's, but it's very simple, and they turn out really good. So, there you go. I want to thank you guys for watching. Y'all remember to like and subscribe. God bless each and every one of you. Y'all stay frosty, and I'll see you next time.